Epiphany. I can't believe tomorrow is the last day of the Christmas season. In the church past, Christmas season ran all the way till Candlemas, February 2nd. I feel like I need to do that. I just feel like I haven't got enough of Christmas this year. And partially it was because I was sick on Christmas Day. I did cover Mass, but family all got together and I went home and collapsed. And, you're like, okay, right, Lord, when you give us lemons, we got to make some lemonade. And try to keep the chin up and realize that getting sick is part of the journey that I'm going to speak about. This journey. Wise men still seek him. We've seen those bumper stickers, and it's still true today. Wise men, the wise, still seek him. And these wise men, magi, coming from the east, see this star in the sky, and it's shining on a place in the Holy Land. And who knows where from the east they came from, maybe Babylon, which is in modern-day Iraq. They start following the light. Now, they've heard these are not Jews. They're Gentiles, what we used to call pagans. Paganos in Espanol. They know some sort of prophecy that has spread as wise men about this newborn king of the Jews being under the light of a star. Magi. Who were they? What were they? We don't know. They could have been magicians. They could have been stargazers, astrologers, astronomers, men of science, wise men, men of great learning. But they came. They came for the birth of this newborn king. They came to see the light from light. They followed that star. I was thinking about this last night. God, creator of all. I never studied astronomy officially. Teens, if you're in high school and you feel that, hey, study astronomy, do it. Don't do what I did. I blew it off and I regret it. And there was no opportunity in the seminary for an astronomy class. Oh, we had Father Sywick out there. No, Father, I'm forgetting his name. Brilliant man. He had his telescope out there. He would sit outside of the hall where the priest lived at Mundelein, and I could see him. And it's like you could tell from the mood when you walk by. It's dark, but we had a little bit of ambient light. Leave him alone, man. He's a brilliant scripture scholar, but staring up at the heavens. It was like, I won't call it a private devotion, but a private, maybe, hobby. Because he was so, 7 languages. And this is something maybe he's doing on the side. I did love Star Trek. You all know that, the original. But we know, even the closest star is 2.5 light years away? And most likely this was maybe, a supernova, a star-going nova. And God, in his infinite abilities and intellect, saw that it would take years for that light. When we look up at the stars, we're looking at the past. It took years for those lights, sometimes thousands of years for that light to come all the way here. And he figured out in his plan for human salvation put that light up in the sky at that time when the infant Jesus, when the Logos, God the Son, takes on human flesh and is born. And they follow the light. And it's so much for us a symbol of the pilgrimage that is life, that we keep walking every day, every day. And as Christians, we are called to walk to the light. We're called to walk to the light. So many temptations to walk to darkness, saying, oh, this is the easier way, this is the better way, this is what everybody is doing. And you're like, no, my job as pastor is to encourage you to keep walking in the light and encourage one another, as it says in the letter to the Hebrews. Encourage each other while it is still today, it says in Hebrews. Last night, I love Scripture. I hope you do too. And if you don't, break open that Bible and start reading. I mean, read the Gospels. Start with their little passages. They will penetrate your heart. So last night, after the vigil mass, I went home and I was praying the Liturgy of the Hours, the divine office. We priests, seminarians now, we're all a bunch of cheaters because we had these breviaries, right? 4 volumes. And you had to know where you were on each page. And when I'd pray with Father Charlie and with Father Shea, they would use the breviary. And it's like, okay, I got to bring the breviary. What page am I supposed to be on? Because now I got the iPad, I get a tablet, I got a phone, and it's just there for you. Oh, it's so convenient. So I'm there, and I'm praying evening prayer 1 for Epiphany. And I'm, praying through the Psalms. You got 3 Psalms. And I get to this one at Psalm 4. And I've been praying the breviary for 20 years. More than 20 years. And sometimes you see something in Scripture new that you've been reading for years. And it said, many ask, where will we find happiness? Let the light of your face, O Lord, shine upon us. The light of your face. So we have to seek the light. And so I'm looking at Psalm 4, okay, and I get this insight, and I'm like, okay, I got to tell people about that tomorrow. And as I'm going through my evening, I want to go back and review. Make sure I got the quote right. And I go back on the tablet, and it's like, evening prayer 1, there's no Psalm 4. And I was like, gosh. And I look, well, maybe it was daytime prayer I was praying. No. And I go to another app and see if there's a difference in this one versus that one. I go, no, all the same ones. Then I break open the real breviary. And it's Epiphany, all the same psalm. All the same psalms that are on the tablet. Where did Psalm 4 come from? I have no idea, but it was like 200 pages away. And you're like, okay. I was listening to a Protestant preacher that night in the garage, and he was talking about signs. And you're like, I think I got a little bit of a sign here. Let the light of your face shine upon us, O Lord. Those who search for happiness. We look for it in all the wrong places, right? Instead of walking to the light, we look in the wrong places. These 3 come. They arrive in Jerusalem, and they meet King Herod, who is under the Roman authority and occupation, but he had a lot of wiggle room and a lot of clout with the Romans. He was ruthless. I mean, I can't explain, like Scripture can, how ruthless he was. Maybe we gloss it. He was called Herod the Great because he was a great builder, and some of the edifices that he built still stand in ruins in the Holy Land. We went to Sebastia, which would be in Samaria, and we went, and there was still this complex, a palace complex, where John the Baptist was martyred. They go to Herod, who's so ruthless. And it says, they tell him, hey, we're looking for the newborn king, and he plays it cool. Hey, yeah. Hey, let me go and pay homage to him. You find out where he is, come back and tell me. Let me go pay homage to you. Oh, lying dog. And we remember the massacre of the innocents. Oh, evil man. It says he is disturbed, troubled, and all of Jerusalem with him. Why all of Jerusalem? They knew how ruthless he was, and they were scared. Hey, anything that threatens the kingship of Herod the Great might come down on us. He might go street to street. We don't know what he's capable of. That's why all of Jerusalem was troubled with him. The priests and the scripture scholars come out. The baby is to be born in Bethlehem of Judea. Okay, you guys, go and pay him homage. And they set out and they see the star. Again, following the light. Many say, how can we find happiness? Let the light of your face shine upon us. They continue to follow the light. They come to this place where Jesus is born. Now, we had the king who had the palace and a royal court and a throne, and they come to the King of Kings. And his throne are the immaculate arms of the Blessed Virgin Mary. His court is a stable. Who knows if there was the smell of manure? This is the King of Kings. He's so different. And they bow low and they open their treasuries, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. St. Hilary tells us it's gold because gold is the king of all metals. Still is. I don't know much about platinum, but gold is still very valuable. Gold because he's a king. Frankincense, which is an incense, an expensive incense, because he is God. We think of the incense, and that comes from our Jewish tradition, our Jewish roots. Incense rising up to heaven as our prayer before God. Myrrh, which was a gum from a bush that was dried and ground up and put into olive oil and then used to anoint the body at death of very important people. Myrrh because he's human and he would die. Their names, the only source we have is an apocryphal gospel, a gospel that's not accepted as official, but it's called the Armenian gospel. They tell us Casper, Melchior, and Balthazar. And so we use those letters as we do Epiphany blessings in houses. They make their visit, and then they receive a message from the angel, or probably from an angel in a dream. Yes, don't go back to Herod. And they lead by another route. Once we encounter that light, we can't go back the same way. It's tragic if we go back the same way. I've seen it. Gosh, I've seen, people in the church and just fall back into dysfunction, addiction, sinful living. And you're like, gosh, what a mess. Satan's gunning for us. He knows that we're walking to the light. There's a lot of distractions. And I was listening to that Protestant preacher, and he was talking about, all the things on the way that we encounter that try to distract us. Divorce, discouragement. Bishop Olmsted, I hope I'm quoting him correctly. He told of when he was in the seminary, and the librarian there called him over and said, "Thomas, one of the greatest weapons that the enemy will use is discouragement. Avoid it." And I don't know if it was a he or she, go write that down. I got to talk to him again and make sure I got all the components right, but it is a weapon, a huge weapon, discouragement. And we have addiction and all the other things that try to take us off course from following the light. No. Friends, as we begin this new year, we begin a new liturgical year, we need to remind ourselves and remind each other, continue to follow the light of lights, from light, the light of lights, the light of life, Jesus Christ. His light shines upon him, but he radiates with the glory. Many of the Eastern icons of Jesus show that there's no shadows, because he's not receiving the light. He is the light. Walk to the light. Friends, encourage each other while it is still day. Walk to the light. It's a new year. We need to press on. We need to press forward. We need to continue to remind ourselves and remind others. Walk to the light. What can bring us happiness? Many ask. Let the light of your face shine upon us, O God.